what will be happening exactly with the real estate in the next upcoming years in Spain. If you're planning on renting here in our sunny country, will the landlord be able to rise the rent every single year or all of a sudden raise the rent for the last 3 years all at once? Which will be the most popular and best paid jobs in Spain in the nearest future? This and much more useful information in today's Spain News Update. Welcome back to the channel Spain Unlocked. My name is Anna, and today we'll be talking about these three latest Spanish news. Stay tuned up until the end. Let's start with the first news, which is about the property rentals long term. Some people, when they decide to relocate to Spain, prefer to purchase a property directly, but others decide to rent long term. Maybe because they're not sure about the area just yet, or because they feel like rentals are a better option for them to be able to try out different locations. And a yearly rental is a great way of actually doing so. If you've been staying in the same property for quite a few years and all of a sudden landlord says, I will be raising your rent for all the 3 years that you've been living here, and I didn't do so because I forgot, and I will also be asking you to pay for all this lost money that I didn't get from you while I wasn't raising your rent. Is this actually legal? Can landlords do so? And what the law states? First of all, what you need to know is that there are different types of contracts, and although it is true that there is a standard long-term rent contract agreement between the tenant and the landlord, it is also true that these contracts can be changed slightly by incorporating different clauses into these contracts. And contracts might or might not have a clause that will stipulate that every single year for the renewal of the contract, the landlord is able to rise the rent according to a specific index. In Spain, we have two of these. There is the IPC, which is the price index, the price rise index in Spain that we use for everything price related in our country. And then there's also a brand new index, which is a rental rise index. This shows of how much it is recommended to rise the price in specific areas. Right now, as for this month, it is of 2.15%, and previously it was around 1.6, 1.7. So this is for how much landlords can actually raise the rental for a renewal of the rental agreement contract. And this is true if a landlord forgot for some reason to rise prices every single year. After a few years, he can actually rise the rental proportionally to the yearly percentage rise. So, for example, first year it was 1.5%. So that's the rise. The new price plus another 1.5% or 2% is the next year's price. And like this, you sum up until you reach this year's price with the percentage change. And that is what you will be paying starting from next month of rent. However, the landlord cannot do one thing, cannot absolutely ask you to pay the money that he could have been getting but didn't, because he did not rise up the prices for all these years. He cannot say to you, I forgot to rise price for the last 3 years and now you have to pay me all the money that I've lost and didn't ask from you. That is illegal and that is impossible to ask. He can adequate the price for all these years to what it should have been now, but not ask to pay everything that he didn't get from you these past years. That is absolutely illegal to do. And a lot of tenants right now are facing actually difficult situations because landlords see that they cannot rise prices as much as they would want to in these current situations. So what they tend to do is either say, pay me, let's say 300, 400 euros difference of what the property is kind of being rented out for now, and you can stay, or I'll cancel your contract and you can search anywhere else to be, but you will be facing new rental prices. And this applies mostly for longer lasting contracts, not so much for the new ones. But a lot of the times, this extortion and these phrases coming from landlords are based that they see that the market has changed and the prices have gone way up of what their tenants are paying right now. So they want these tenants to go away and obtain new tenants, which would be paying a higher price for a monthly rental. And that is very common right now here in Spain. Let us know if in your country the situation is exactly the same. Maybe it's worse, maybe it's better, but this is what is happening with rentals right now. By the way, you can still get the rental, long-term rent, even though you're still in your home country. And even with your passport, if you don't have the residence permit just yet, the only thing you need to do is to contact us and we will be able to help you out to find your home, at least for a while, here in our sunny country. Let's continue with the second news, and it is about properties back again, but this time we'll be talking about what is going to be happening with purchase properties, those that are on sale here in Spain in the upcoming months and for next year, 2026. As for now, we've analyzed different types of magazines, we've analyzed the economic specialists, those who specialize in property markets, those that are analyzing the situation and are giving their opinion on what they feel like might be happening this year and the beginning of next year. And even though a lot of people outside do feel like the property market will burst into flames like it was in 2008 crisis, this time it is absolutely not the same, and it has nothing to do with the crisis that we've had in the year 2008. That crisis was due to banks giving mortgages to literally every single person who's going inside and asking for it without actually checking their solvency profile, without checking if they have enough of funds, without anything. They were just giving basically to dogs and cats and birds and to everyone, every single creature alive was able to get a mortgage. People were getting several mortgages, which is why some families now have several properties. And sadly, a lot of these people, they didn't have enough equity to pay for it, which is why all of this bursted into our faces. But now it's different. Right now, the issue is not the mortgages and the credits that banks are giving away just like that, like it's free. No, right now the main problem is the property, that there's not enough properties for long-term rent. The prices are abusive. That is the real issue right now. And people do have way more stable contracts, more stable income. Families have fixed contracts, like undefined for forever contracts. And banks are not giving mortgages that easily right now, which means that it is not the same type of issue. So it wouldn't be the same type of outcome. What specialists and analysts do feel like might be happening in Spain is that the interest rates coming from the central bank has decreased a little bit, which means that, and it might be decreasing or maintain itself on the same level by the end of this year, which would mean that banks are receiving less money from every single euro they give people. And obviously, this means that their income and benefits are slightly lower, which technically would mean that they need to give out slightly more loans or mortgages or credits to be able to obtain the same benefit they used to be obtaining previously with higher interest rates. And banks need, obviously, liquidity. They need the money. They need to survive somehow and maintain the same profits. Thus, it is quite probable that they will not look so much into the profile of those who are getting the mortgage, especially those who wants to receive a mortgage as their first family home in Spain. Younger generations up to 35 years old that didn't have any kind of property on their name so far, and those who wants to get 100% financing. This might be slightly easier for these people, and honestly, it is way more probable that families will receive their first forever home here in Spain. And there's also one reason why, one of the main reasons, because rent long term is more expensive a lot of the times than actually getting a mortgage for this type of property. Paying a mortgage is more cheap than renting it out, which is why many people are trying their best to get the mortgage right now. And if things continue the same way, hopefully more people will be able to become property owners and get their own home before all this rental issue becomes even a bigger problem. It's not a problem for those who are relocating from outside because people are actually finding these rents quite affordable, especially if you're coming from Canada or US or other like northern European countries. But for locals with salaries from here, it is actually really, really expensive. So even though prices are rising, many families are trying their best to actually make a purchase of their first home here in Spain towards the end of this year and beginning of 2026. And now let's continue with the last news, which is about jobs here in Spain. I know some people who are watching our channel are retired, but there's also others who are planning to relocate here and find a job. And the main question is, which are the best paid jobs right now? Which ones are the ones that are most needed ones in our country? And obviously the answer will depend not only on overall knowledge of which kind of professions are most required right now, but also on the area where you're planning on living. And let me explain why. Different areas of Spain have different types of sectors and workforce. For example, South Spain and Mediterranean, especially like coastal areas, are mostly known for tourism. There's some areas that are more industry oriented. There's others who are more marine oriented. There's others who are in general production, tiling, marble, etc., like construction oriented. It is very, very different from one side of Spain to the other, which is why it's recommended to do your research and check out, according to what you would like to do, which is the best region for you to relocate. Our region has a little bit of everything. There is private sectors, public sectors, there's tourism, there's construction, there's industry, there is health, there's schooling, there is different types of commercial businesses, selling, shops, shopping malls, etc. There's plenty of things available here. And there's also a lot of startups, which is what many people are interested in to get involved when they're coming here to Spain and to our region of Alicante. So plenty of things to do. However, it is seen that those professions that will be the highest paid jobs are not going to be professions that do have a lot of university degrees, master's degree, etc. No, those will be good paid jobs, obviously, yes, and they're prestigious jobs, but there's also going to be others who are barely needing any kind of studies at all. It is mostly workforce, such as plumbers, construction site workers, electricians, air conditioning specialists, solar panels, etc. Why? Because we do have a lack of workers in this type of industries. And prior to that, it was always said that, oh, you have to study, you have to go to university because you will be no one without studies in university and getting your master's degree. And that was a thing in a lot of countries. However, after some time, it's being noticed that there's a lack of workers in all the basic industries that have been here forever, for decades and centuries. There's a lack of workers there. There's a lack of plumbers. Right now, literally, a plumber gets as much money as a lawyer and maybe even more than that because there's a lack of them. They charge more or less what they want, in a sense. For the job to being done, you have to wait for days and days for them to arrive. That is how busy they actually are. Electricians, the AC specialists, wow, there's long waits for these types of companies and specialists and professionals here. So obviously, all those people who are going to a professional school to study like 1 or 2 years to master what they will be working in is actually something that Spain needs the most. Agriculture, construction site workers, drivers of trucks, all these and many, many more are the most required ones. And people are starting to learn slowly but surely right now. However, many still choose university-based careers. And even though it pays well and is slightly less stressful in some professions, but the ones that are required the most are the ones that have been here since the world existed. And these AI is not be it will not be able to be doing this job. AI won't be able to do this job like plumbers or electricians. It is just not a possibility. So this is going to be the highest paying jobs, and this is what a lot of people feel like. Also, obviously, IT and some professions that will have to um, adapt and help AI to actually check out on if things are being done correctly. uh, all types of digital professions, and those that are needed, even though AI is a thing and it is widely used to simplify some processes. But AI makes errors and makes a lot of mistakes. That is true. And that's being checked. And it knows it makes mistakes, but still does them. So you have to be careful with it. And all typical authentic professions that have existed for a long time will still be needed in our country. Let us know if in your country it's exactly the same, or maybe there's different professions that are more valued, highly paid. Maybe just Spain is so different. Thank you for accompanying us in today's latest Spain news update. We wish you a great day. Stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe so that you wouldn't miss any brand new videos here on the channel Spain Unlocked. We will see you this Thursday with a brand new video. Goodbye.